Hello. Welcome to Poison Talks Volume 9. Here is my guest, Ruse. Ruby, thank you for joining us today. And I don't know, for those that don't know you, tell Chad a little bit about yourself, huh?
Yeah, well, my name is Ruse, which is pretty apparent, but I have been streaming since like late January. I think I technically started early January, but I streamed once and then I just kind of had to figure out other stuff and then I started streaming. I did a bunch of random stuff initially, but I was primarily doing Spelunky because I like Spelunky and it seemed accessible. Like, you know, if you try to stream Valorant, you can literally just put your mouse on scroll and go to the bottom. It never ends.
Yes.
But with Spelunky, it seemed reasonable. And I like Spelunky.
Sure.
So I did a couple other little games. I think I played like Outlast when I first started, but then I got obsessed with doing a $7.99. I originally was never going to do $7.99. Yeah, it's like, no. And then, you know, people kind of, I interacted with Jess. She was one of the first people in the community that I interacted with. And then just kind of building off of that, I started to get more and more people watching me. And Spelunky, I enjoyed it and people were watching it. So it evolved into going to the $7.99.
Sure.
Which took a while, but, you know, we got it done. We did it. And then, in between that, I've done bunches of little tiny... the goal is to always be a variety streamer, but...
Sure.
You know, you get locked... You fixate on something, so...
Right.
Was the fixation.
And Spelunky is a very easy thing to get more involved than you expected in. So... what came first, the idea of streaming or the idea of streaming Spelunky? Like, what made you want to get on and start doing this in the first place?
Streaming came first. You know, it's always been... I've always wanted to entertain. Like, I've always wanted to be, you know, quote-unquote, always wanted to be an actor. You know, I've always had people tell me I should act or tell me that I should be in front of people. And especially when it comes to my parents, who are very supportive people, but they're very... honest people. You know, they're never gonna tell, holy shit, there's a spider on my screen. I'm gonna deal with that later. Anyways, so my parents were like, yeah, you were an entertaining person. So with their support, which they don't know that I stream, not because it's a secret, but just because it's like I like to come to them with results, not so much. But I listen to them pretty hard, and my girlfriend Princess, and just people have always been really supportive of me. And so I was like, well, screw it. Why am I not streaming? And so for years I played with the idea, and then over COVID, I was kind of at home a lot.
Sure.
Which, funnily enough, I didn't really stream during my time off, quote unquote time off with COVID. I just laid around. But then it just kind of hit me beginning of last year. I made some changes in my life, and I was like, I'm not doing what I think would really make me happy, which is trying to become a content creator. And so I just started. And I honestly don't think I could do it if it wasn't for Princess. She's
shout out to the Strawberry Princess.
Yeah, she's very amazing. She's a very amazing person. She's literally I literally wouldn't do it if it wasn't for her, because like we all have ups and downs, right?
Sure.
And so there'll be times where I'm like, should I keep doing this? And she's like, yeah. You know, and so without that, I don't know if I could do it. So, yeah, you know, I don't like having a job. I'm good at my job. I work in tech. I'm good at working, but I don't want to have a job, man. I want to play video games. I want to make content. It's fun. You know, I hope people can see with the videos that I make. They're no small feat. They take a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Which I think anybody could make what I make, but the big thing is it's definitely the time investment. So I don't know. It's fun, and streaming is so fantastic.
Sure.
It's so weird to just talk to people and have people take stupid clips of you, and then it's a good vibe. It's a good time.
You're talking to someone who just decided one day to have an interview show, and now, like, I get to talk to awesome people all the time. It's such a weird thing, the idea that anyone can just go on and do the stuff that we do, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, like, I don't think anyone could just go on and do what you do. Because I say often, and maybe to you it comes off as a bit of a joke when I call you, like, the streamer, but I feel like there's a reason that you see a lot of big names in the Spelunky community hang out in your chat, even though you're on the smaller side. And it's because of the craft you put into the things you make. Like, that YouTube video, the editing, the timing, the sense of humor. Like, I think I do a good job with my stuff, but I feel like your content is on another level. in a lot of ways. And it consistently impresses me. So you can talk about like, yeah, it's no big deal, but I don't know. I'm always impressed with the stuff you do.
Yeah, and I think we've personally chatted about it before, where it's like so I have just to give a little more background, I have a business degree, and so I'm very type A, so I'm meticulous about things, and so I'm always like tracking my time and doing everything. So it's like, when it comes to what I want to put out there in my content, there's a few ways I think about it. It's like my Ruby Ruse is like, that's like where I put my quote unquote art. That's where I want to put something where it's like, this is something I made, whereas a lot of other channels, and I feel like an ass when I'm saying this, but it's not to be disparaging at all, but it's like, it's much easier to take clips and do a very light amount of editing, but
like
you do a trade-off, right? No, but it's like, it's the time investment, right? So you're able to put out more stuff, which gets you more clicks. We could talk about the algorithm and however you play that game, but it's something I go back and forth on a lot, where it's like, do I want to have this little space where it's like this art project thing where I put these really, really highly produced, and so much time is spent on, not even just working on it. Like the amount of time I go over little tiny things, I'm like, is this good? Is this funny?
Sure.
Take it out. I don't know about this. And then I'll send it to Princess and have her tell me if I'm wasting my time or not. But it's something I play a lot of. I'm trying to, and I finally, like, I have my archive channel up now. So that's like I'm doing stuff, but I'm just literally, I'm downloading and uploading. That's all that is. But
sure.
It's, I've been trying to figure out a schedule. I'm trying to figure out like a kind of a plan or a goal because I do want to upload frequently. I want to upload like every week, but I can't.
Sure.
With my life, I can't spend 15 hours on a 3-minute video. I mean, I can, but every week it kind of becomes like, it's something I've been trying to figure out. It's like, okay, what can I do? And I've been in a slump for a little bit. It's like, well, what do I want to make? And then you think about what do you want to make, and it's like, well, that's gonna be stupid, which is not a good way to think about it.
I mean, you say that, but then of like the last 3 or 4 videos I've put up, I feel like 50% of my content is just, oh my god, this is incredibly stupid. And then I'm like, let's do it. And it turns out okay. But I understand well the idea of having confidence in the things you do. And I think that's what impresses me about you. Again, not to continue throwing flattery at you.
No, but I appreciate it, please.
But that a lot of what you do feels like you're coming at it in a very deliberate way, like in a calculated way. Like, again, going back to what I think is a fascinating phrase that I've said myself before, anybody can do this. It's a matter of the way, like anybody can turn on a camera and play a video game, absolutely. But not everybody approaches it with that mindset of, what is the most entertaining way of putting out what I put out. And I say it constantly that I feel like Spelunky is so tailor-made to that because there's always something happening in Spelunky, And I think that's what makes it one of the greatest games to play ever.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you dabble in more categories than I do, because I've seen you do low percent, I've seen you do golden monkey percent, I've seen you do like a lot of different things. What are you, now that you have your $7.99 especially, like what are you trying to do in game as opposed to the content side?
I haven't touched Spelunky in, I don't know, maybe about a month, a little less than a month.
It hasn't been that long, has it?
Time flies, dude. I mean, we could look in a little bit. I feel like it's honestly, it's nearing a month, but I got the 99 and then I was just doing, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to get a couple more 7.99s. And then I got bored of that pretty fast because I felt the urge to get a 99. Once I got it, it was like, do I really want to do this? Because even if I play faster than the average, so I'm always going to be going for a sub 2 hour. But I kind of like doing so then I switched over and I was like, oh, I'll do some speed running. Speed running, you can do 30 runs in an hour, right? You do them right.
Well, you can do 60.
You can do 60. Yeah, you can do 60
if they're all in the dwelling.
So I was like, oh, I hate teleporters, so I'm never gonna do teleporter stuff. And then I think the first one I did was I did low percent Jungle Temple, which was fun, and then I got a pretty good time in that, and then I jumped over to low percent stuff, and I did low pacifist, and then I got stuck on low no gold for a really long time. That was like probably the longest. And then when I got that, I don't think I've played since I got that. I was like, I'm kind of over it, and I'm not a big fan of. We've kind of talked about the trappings of numbers and games and categories, right? It's like I don't have as much invested in this. Like, don't get me wrong, Spelunky got me to where I am today.
Oh, for sure.
But Spelunky, you talked about this the other day when you did your little, come to chat moment where you were just talking about like, Spelunky's not going to be here forever, and
sure,
I don't want to play. I think you kind of were like, the gist of it was, I'm not going to want to play this forever. This isn't a permanent state. If you're on Twitch, you pretty much have to be somewhat modular to an extent, right?
Right. You don't want to lock yourself into being a Spelunky streamer, right?
Yeah. And it's also
That's
like
fair.
we said, it's why am I streaming? I stream because it's fun and because I don't want to have a job. And the moment it begins to feel like I'm doing something specifically for numbers, or when there's not nearly as much at stake for me, where it's like, why would I do this if I'm just looking at the number, right? If like that's what I'm focused on, I'm nowhere near partner. I'm nowhere near that. So it's like, I can kind of play with that game a little bit more, especially because it's wonderful when I have my crew of folks who show up, right? Like I tend to have a bit more of a lurking crowd. Like my chat tends to be a little more quiet, which I'm fine with, because I feel bad when I miss a single message. So the less messages, the easier it is for me to keep on track with it. But moving to different random games, like I was playing Dead Space the other day, and I'll play Noida, and having that core group of people show up is like, it feels like I'm laying a very strong foundation, and that's what's important to me, is because I don't, even you look at our beautiful Supreme God King Twiggle, in terms of numbers, right? Like that guy'll jump, he jumps around, and he gets crazy good viewers, but it's
true. Turns out he doesn't like being called the Eternal God King, but still.
Oh,
no, but no, it's fine. You won't watch this.
But yeah, like as you can tell, I'm thinking about this. I try to temper myself. It's like I don't want to think about this. I don't want to play the game. I don't want to, go down this road. So I just try to do what's fun, and the hope is that people come for the Ruby Ruse.
Absolutely.
More than they come for the Spelunky, but that's how you're going to play that game as much as you stream. And I've only almost a year, which is kind of crazy, but
and where does the time go?
Yeah, Jesus, dude. God, I'm so old
And
with poison.
I think I got a couple years on you. Listen, so I think, besides you work out. You're gonna hold on to the Ruby Ruse aesthetic longer than I'm gonna be able to keep up poison type. There's something to be said for coming at it not from the angle of where could I be, like,
yeah,
I would love to be partner, I would love to be Ludwig, I would love whatever, but it's more important to me for sure to look at it from the perspective of, this is what I have. Like, I have people who really come and enjoy watching my content, and how much of that do you think involves you having a cute dog? Like, what percentage of your success comes from Yuki?
I mean, that's probably... because that's what I did before the face cam, right? Like, I always... like, you just think about, you always gotta... using the data I have. You think about, like, oh, how fun was it when people had a small fan base and then they did a face reveal? Or...
yeah. Absolutely.
Stuff like that. And so I didn't want to start with the... I'm also kind of a perfectionist. So I have a decent job, so I'm able to invest in nicer equipment. Like I have a nice computer, I have a nice mic, I have a nice camera, and so it's like I didn't want to do the cam until I had a nice camera, and so it's like I have this little webcam. My dog doesn't care what she looks like on the internet, and so it was just like this. It was like this cute flavor, right, that I could put in the bottom right hand corner. Yeah, and I add this. How do I? Especially if you don't know how to, because I came into streaming like I didn't watch videos. I was like, there's all those how to 10 tips, 15 25 tips in 2 minutes. And so I was like, screw it, dude. I'm just going to figure it out as I go. And so it's like, oh, I have these channel points now. Cause I grinded pretty hard to get the affiliate.
Sure.
That was the one thing I'm not proud of. Not like I'm not proud of it, but that was the one thing where I really pushed, where I was like, okay, I need to do all these different things where I talk to different groups, get my 50 to get my affiliate. Sure. But then that was like, oh, when I do affiliate, I'll have Yuki Cam. Sure. It grabbed people to an extent, but it's, your cam or your dog cam, it's not gonna. It doesn't. I don't think it. Truly, not very much, but it is very cute. People like her though.
it was only half a joke question,
but I mean, it did help. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, people, oh, your dog's so cute. Like, yeah, She is. I know she is. That's why she's got a little cam. I've actually been trying to. I'm gonna make another cam for Yuki specifically, so I have a source I can just switch over to the dog cam. I don't know if you know Lethal Frag. You ever heard of him?
I have. Yes.
Yeah, he has like a cat cam. He'll switch to it. That's cute. I like that.
That's fair.
Do something like that.
So, a big thing I like to talk about for Poison Talks is like how you got to where you are, your growth, like what choices you've made that got you there. And something that you just said that really resonates with me is you kind of make it up as you go. Like, you can go and watch as many videos as you want. You can get a lot of good things out of it for, like, how to set out a layout on OBS, how to get people to cut, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But the biggest thing is that no matter how much practice you have, once you have the camera on, once you're doing your thing, you kind of have to make it up as you go. Like, nobody comes on as just like, boom, done. Well, I can't say nobody, but I feel like it's a lot easier when you're starting out on Twitch to get like a baseline of like, I'm going to play this game, here's a couple things I'm going to do, and then the rest of it, you just kind of, again, make up. Is there anything that stands out in your mind that was like a big hurdle to figure out once you started actually streaming and actually doing your thing? Like something that's like, wow, I didn't expect that to be that difficult or something.
I guess I could kind of, it's a current problem. Or not, problem's not the right word. Question.
Sure.
Unsolved answer.
Sure. Unsolved mysteries, yes.
So something I don't like to manufacture things. It's like the most extreme example of this would be, going to buy big follows to become famous, right? That all those bots come into our channels and always offer us.
I've been there. It's so cheap. You should check it out.
Bro, it is cheap. You just go look. There's certain things there's like, it's crazy. But like, that's like the most extreme version of manufacturing something, right? And so I'm more realistic and maybe not as obvious as some people think. It's like, I don't want to like force a community to grow. And so that's something I've really struggled with, where it's like some people are like crazy. This is honestly jealousy speaking. Some people are so active on their Discords and other people's Discords. And I'm just like, I'm sitting over here old man style. Like, how do you guys have time for this? Like, maybe I hate my phone, so I try not to look at it as much. And a lot of people, I think it's a bigger part of their life.
Sure.
Which might sound judgmental. It's not meant to sound like, it's just, that's what you like to do. Right. And for me, it's like, I try to not look at my phone. I text like 4 people, maybe, and like 2 of those are my family. And so growing a community is something I really struggle with, because I want it to feel very genuine. I have a very salesman-y personality, like more professional. Like, that's something I'm very familiar with, is the sales world, because I work close to that. And so I grew up with that. And it's like, when you have a certain sense that other people don't necessarily have, it's a lot easier to kind of detect fakeness or insincerity. And so it's like, it's hard for me to like, okay, how do I build this? How do I do something deliberately without seeming fake and deliberate, right? Because you don't want it to feel like you're like pushing, push. Like, it's something I wanted to just have slowly evolve. And I'm very grateful for what I have, because it's something that has grown into something I'm proud of, right? Like, I have this little Discord and we talk little bits here and there. And I've been thinking about ways to how do I spark more conversation. It's the same kind of thing with like chat, right? Like, I'm fine with being the lurker guy, the guy who has a lot of lurkers, because I know that people kind of, your voice is nice. So it's like, people just want to sit and listen. Like, that's great, honestly. But it's like, how do I spark that conversation? Like, and I have people that chat to each other, but a lot of times it feels like people come in for me, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's not as much of a, oh, hey, I know. And it kind of has started to happen more recently, in more recent memory, but it's still, I'll go into other folks' chats, and it's just like nonstop people having conversations. And I don't know if it's because I attract the kind of people who are tired and they just want to chill and, and like, they're just here to like watch. Whereas you go into somebody, like, just to throw a name out there, like Jess's chat is like, everyone knows each other, and it's kind of wild to me. And I don't know. It's something I think about a lot, where it's like, what am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? Is it me? Is it the type of person, you get too caught up in it. Right. So that's where, like, I think about these things to an extent, and then it's like, nope, I'll talk to some people about it every once in a while, put out some feelers. Am I crazy? Am I doing something wrong? What do you think? And then other than that, it's like, just let it go. And I think, like, somebody in your chat, and I've already forgot who said it, they said, like, persistence is key. And I think that's true with basically everything, but especially with this.
For sure.
Like,
squirrels, shout out to squirrels, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy. It's so easy to like think in your off time. Go like I've had days where like it's a quieter day in chat. And I go back and look through. I'm like, what messages was there? Something that scared people away? Did I say something? And when it comes down to it, as long as people are coming and watching and hanging out and having a good time with it, I think it's too easy to get caught up in what specific things you could be doing wrong. But the fact that people keep showing up are like that's a good sign in and of itself, right?
Yeah, it's a very good feeling to have the same folks be like, hey, it's like, hey, you're here again and again and again, no matter what I'm doing. So that's a good feeling for sure.
I agree. And part of what you just said, there is, it's not a factor that you have a voice built for radio, built for streaming, built for these communication things. I wouldn't say that it's the kind of, it puts people to sleep. I just think it's very like classical radio.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And along with that, like I can pick out some of your influences. I mean, you don't exactly hide it. Like a lot of it being very jazz, very Cowboy Bebop, very like classical anime inspired.
Yeah, Steve Blum,
yeah,
Max, man, yeah.
Very much. Like, what are some of your aesthetic like inspirations and the things that you've built your brand around? How did you make Ruby Ruse into what he is?
So,
what inspires
part
you?
of it, yeah, and then tell me where you want me to direct, because I can talk about it. So, like, I mean, like my name. One of the biggest things that prevented me from starting to stream was actually my name. Because I was like, okay, if I'm gonna start, and that's funny because I've talked to a couple people about this, like, I just came up with something. I'm like, I respect that. Like for me, it was like, I want it to mean something, so that 5 years, 10, 5, 8, however many years down the line, it's like, this is my brand, this is me, this is my online persona, right?
Sure.
And so I could get into where my name comes from, but it's a very thought out double entendre hidden meaning. Like there's layers to it. I mean,
I'd love to know, but if it's like some kind of unraveling secret, we can let them live in mystery.
So Ruby is, I've explained, there's clips of it. So Ruby is play on my name. I also like rubies, so that's where Ruby comes from. And then Ruse. So Ruby Ruse sounds like Ruby Ruse, R-U-S-E, like a Ruby Ruse. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then Ruse, R-O-O-Z, is a Farsi word for, it might be Dari. Princess is gonna get mad at me. For day. So it's Ruby Day. So it's like it has two meanings, and it also just sounds good. That's kind of it. But like I wanted to incorporate Farsi because Princess is Persian, and I like the way she speaks, and I wanted it to be English also. So there's that double meaning behind it. And I like rubies. So, and I like the aesthetic of rubies, clearly by the image on the stream. I joke with Princess.
For drawing it.
Yeah, seriously, so pay that man. But like I joke with Princess, but it's like my wedding band. I want a chunky ruby, like 20 years down the line. Like this huge, like a mafia boss. I want a big ruby. It looks nice. Cool. Like, why do women get gemstones? I want a gemstone.
Totally fair.
But influences, like I've never. It's kind of, this might sound weird, but like I've always liked the idea of being like the toxic wholesome guy, where I don't like fake niceties, and I don't like fake, like just ever propping people up for no reason. Like I want to be very genuine and very real with people, where it's like I respect everyone and I want people to feel safe, but I'm also not gonna like just be coddling, like I've always wanted to be like a little prickly, but then at the same time I set myself up so that people make fun of me. Like that's the whole point. Like I'm supposed to be the joke, the butt of the joke of all the jokes all the time. Like that's kind of how my life is. Growing up in a family with 6 people, I've always been that guy. Like my family's we poke each other.
Sure.
And so it's I've just kind of always liked that, where it's like, make fun of me, please, because I can take it, and I think it's funny when people make fun of me. Aesthetically, I like I like Outrun and like vaporwave stuff. I kind of grew up with that when it was like the first thing. Like
I'm such a sucker for vaporwave. I was just talking to Jess about that.
And like the neon, I love the neon, like, and that's not a real neon sign; it's a fake neon sign, but it looks like a neon sign. And I like the clean aesthetic, the kind of nighttime vibes, chill. I have my non-chill moments.
Oh,
right,
absolutely.
Like for sure, right. But like for the most part, I want people to show up, and then I start talking about how Papa John ate 40 pizzas in 30 days, or we'll talk about, is universal basic income a good idea? Like that was one day. I think we went from those two categories. Yeah, that was an interesting day. But I just want to chill, have a good time. I don't want to have to put on a show. Like I like being entertaining, and I've played with ideas because like we were watching that Pop-Tart thing you did. Like doing stupid stuff like that, like fun little events with people. I think
stealing my content, baby Reed.
Yeah. And stuff like that, where it's like I got to start doing stuff like that where it's little events. And so, or even like I'd love to do fundraisers one day, but I feel like I want more so I can actually fundraise, But does that answer your question?
Yeah. No, you are a wealth of information for anything I've asked for. It's wonderful. He's not a content thief. He can have whatever he wants from me. It's fine.
I will do I'll do the QFC brand Pop-Tart. It will be very different, and I will use a soccer ball toaster. How dare you?
What? KFC has Pop-Tarts?
No. QFC.
Isn't that the home shopping channel? Listen, so I think like something you mentioned that's important to me is having like a back and forth with chat, whereas like you don't want to be like actively antagonistic, and you don't want to be a pushover. Like something I found in my early streams, like I shamelessly ripped off like a Germa bit, whereas like, yeah, game sucks, streamer sucks, and I invited people to make fun of me like that, and I realized like after a while, having a sucks command that tells me how much I suck doesn't make me feel great. Like now it's used sparingly, and it's like, yeah, it's funny when it comes up now, but I'm like I don't want to be like the butt of the joke unless there's a wink and a nod to it. But then on the other side of that, it is absolutely fun poking people in the eye and like and like having banter and being able to call people out and doing the mistaking QFC for KFC and QVC. Like that's my wheelhouse, is dumb little jokes like that. But on the other side of that, chat has to be in on that joke too. So it really is like walking a fine line at times between like making sure you can be a little antagonistic but with a wink to the camera, and chat can poke fun at you, but if someone's like, hey streamer, you should go and set yourself on fire, it's like, nah, that's not cool anymore.
Yeah, it's weird. I've had to ban like 2 people, I think, maybe 3, and I think you might have had to interact with more. You've just genuinely interacted with more people streaming, and it's like it's really weird. It's really weird when you encounter somebody that's like actively I don't want to say not a good person. They're actively not being nice in a weird and targeted way, either to you or to chat. Like it's I don't care. Like pretty much to an extent. I don't really care what anybody says about me. I've got a rather thick skin just from the way that I grew up. But like obviously,
I've seen your gym photos. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that something that was passed around? Interesting.
But go on.
Anyways, but like anytime somebody's weird in chat to the chat, like that's not cool. Like don't be doing that. And it's funny because if I didn't have Libby, I think Libby's kind of protected me more than I might have noticed in the past. Because like he'll be like I banned, like this person will be banned. I'm like, why are they banned? He's like, it was a troll. I'm like, okay, like I trust you. Like I'm not gonna question it because Libby doesn't really go crazy with power. So, and we'll see as time goes on and more people show up and you have more people flooding through. But yeah, that's kind of why I appreciate what I have, where it's like these people are my people and I don't have to worry about them.
For sure. Yeah, and as a brief aside, amazing Libby. I modded Libby as a joke when he came into my chat like the first or second time, because I'm like, oh, you're a mod everywhere else. But then he's done an absolutely amazing job in my community, your community, everywhere he goes. He just brings order and like...
He's just hedging his bets.
Huge shout out. Huge shout out to amazing Libby. Amazing as advertised.
Not true.
But yeah, so... I don't know. I've really enjoyed like watching you from the early pre-face cam days, like build up to the confident, handsome streamer you are now. What are the goals for the future of Ruby Ruse, huh?
One thing, just before I say the goals, you say the confident, handsome. The funny thing is like people are very kind to me. They're very kind about my voice. They're very kind about my appearance, and I think it's important that people know that like I am. But at the same time, when I get off cam, like this is the thing that I care about. Like I'm good at. I've got a beautiful, wonderful girlfriend. I have an excellent family. I have a dog. I live in a nice place. Life's pretty solid for me, especially through COVID and stuff.
Sure.
But like Twitch is the thing that makes me self-conscious. It's the thing I don't stay awake about. It's not like I'm stressed about it, but like it's the thing that it's not to make people feel bad or sad. It's like just a moment of humility. Like this is something that I care about. And so when it comes to goals, it's like I almost don't set goals, right? Like I have desires, but it feels like I was talking to me and Princess. We were driving somewhere the other day and I was like, I was going to say something about doing something on Twitch, and I chose to say, if I become partner. So if I become partner, what would you think of this? I don't even remember the context, but I remember this was the question. And then she answered it, and then I went back and I said, what would you think if I said when I become partner? Like, is that silly? Like, is that... Because it's like one of those things where, do I set myself up for potential disappointment in myself?
Sure.
Or... do you visualize? Because I'm a big person of like, if you want something, not that you can sit there and think about something and make it happen, but if you have the mindset that you're going to achieve something or you're going to do something, I think it's much more likely.
It's tough, right? It's a tough balance between like, I'm not going to tell myself I can't do this or I won't do this, but it's something you don't have any control over. Like you have control over it for sure. You put out the content, you do the networking, you build your brand, people will come. But also, I think every single day, what if I wake up today and I have half my viewers because people just stopped caring about Spelunky or about me or about Poison Talks? Yeah. And it's so weird that no matter what level you're at, it's a common thing. Like the idea, how much do you visualize and invest and plan for things that you have very little control over?
Yeah. And so to answer your question, I similar to how I think of myself, which I both love and hate myself, and I exist in the super state right in between, which I think makes me a relatively balanced person. I believe that I could achieve partner, and I believe that I could become successful on Twitch. The reality is that I have to become quite successful for it to become the thing that I switch my whole life to, because I've got a pretty good career going. So it's like I have a really high bar if I ever really want to switch over, unless Princess wants to be my sugar mama, which I will wear the apron. I'll be nothing underneath. She can come home. I'll do that. But so that's what I believe I can achieve, but I have no expectations, right?
Okay, right there is where I want to do the Ruby Ruse thing, where I switch to a close up of just my eyes and steal your bit. Like that's cool.
Yeah. So I want to make content. I want to turn on the cam. I want to turn on the stream and have 1,000 people show up. That's what I want. And the way I kind of look at it now is like I should enjoy now. Absolutely. Where I have this excellent group of about 20 people, really vocal, people that are relatively always around almost whatever I do.
Sure.
Because that's what you trade when you get big. You don't have that kind of relationship with people, and so that's like. Yeah, it's weird thinking about it. So, expectations, none. Hopes, big. Do I think I could do it? Yes. But we've talked about streaming before, and there's an element of black magic that I do not understand. And
it's like, what, we go on TikTok now? Okay, what does that even...
Bro, I don't...
should I tweet more? Should I be tweeting now? Oh, no.
I tried to tweet. Princess deleted one of my tweets because it embarrassed her. So, I've already lost all my... She manages my Twitter.
Oh man,
she managed. So, my confidence was shattered on Twitter. I don't know when I'm going to get back to that. I feel like an old man on Twitter. I grew up with Twitter. I don't know how to use it. It's confusing and it scares me.
I gotta get a social media manager Princess in my life.
Like you can talk to Chazran, and Chazran's like, "Oh, just have your girlfriend make videos." And I'm like, Princess is smart and she knows how the human body works. I do not trust her. How dare you?
Man.
No, it's yeah. Big hopes.
It's a foreign world out there, but I think we're both doing pretty good, huh?
Yeah, you're always playing the game, and I'll ping you every once in a while, like, am I crazy? And you'll tell me no most of the time.
No, not at all. Yeah. So in a minute here, we'll wrap up. We'll get to viewer questions. I know we've seen a couple thrown in as we've gone, but the last big thing, and the heart of Poison Talks is. If someone came to you tomorrow and is like, "Hey, I'm going to start streaming this weekend," and you're Ruby Ruse, like, what's your advice for new creators to get to where you are to do what you do? Big or small, or pro tips, or a grander vision? How do you become Ruby Ruse?
I can give you 2 suggestions. One is on the technical side. Even if you don't need a crazy good computer, but probably one of the most important things is that you have a reasonable microphone. You don't need what I have. I don't have like a crazy expensive one, but my mic's like $150. You need a decent mic, right? Like not that expensive, but make sure you can be heard, and make sure it isn't, make sure it's not this like.
I feel personally attacked. I gotta replace this thing.
Yeah, make sure it's not like no. Your voice isn't bad, but you'd be surprised if you click on I'll go through sometimes just to see. I don't know why, it's interesting to me. Make sure your setup is good also. So technically, just make sure your sound. You don't need to be a 10. You need to be minimum, you need to be like a 5, right? You just need to be acceptable. And you'll figure it out as you go along. There's a lot of little tiny things. When it comes to more of the actual streaming side, have 0 expectations. And actually, the expectation should be that basically nobody's going to show up for a little while. Sure. And that sounds negative, but I don't think it is. I think it's like, if people come to me and they're like, I want to work out. How does it work? I'm like, do not think you are going to feel good. Do not think that you're going to lift the heavy thing that you want to lift. It's going to suck, and it's going to suck. Don't expect it to not suck, but enjoying that. I was going to say enjoying that suck, but we're not going to say that. We're going to say enjoying that pain and enjoying that discomfort is part of the process. And so, sure. You want to come at it with realistic expectations, and also try to have a couple really reliable people. Like, I wouldn't have had my 3 viewer average, and this is like a cheat code, and I'm sorry because I know not everyone can do it, but having a girlfriend who will chill and be supportive of you, or a boyfriend or a partner or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know, having somebody supportive, and I feel bad because not everybody's gonna have that, but that's what worked for. Like, guys, I'm not lying. I wouldn't be the person I am if it wasn't for all the people in my life, and I wouldn't be on Twitch if it wasn't for Princess. And I know it kind of seems like I'm repeating myself, but
I'm sure Princess is fine with you repeating this.
I'm sure she is, but it's honestly it's a really big part of it, because she's my best friend, and she's my my life partner, and so it's like having somebody who's in your corner, and I'm like, you need to tell me when I gotta stop also. Right? Like, don't let me do this because you think it's what I want to do. Like, never tell me that I'm doing something right just because that's what you think I want to hear. Like, you gotta, and so that's maybe something everybody could have. Everybody can have somebody in their life where you're like, you gotta be my friend, you gotta be honest. And Princess has told me, like, that was weird, or that was bad, which, and I try not to make the same mistake twice, but just be yourself. It's really hard keeping up a persona, Sure. For me, it's not hard being the Giga Chad, because, it just comes natural, but, don't try to be.
All right.
I hate myself. Don't worry about it.
No, that's good. So I think that those are all excellent piece of advice and excellent perspective. Thank you, Ruby. So to get into some viewer questions, again, toss them in chat. I think I forgot to say it in the Discord today. But the first and most important viewer question, from one of my coworkers who I was showing pictures of you to last night. What are your tips from the gym, bruh? How do you bulk up?
Okay, so there's a couple. There's big. When it comes to bulking up, you need to eat more than you want to eat. Like, my little brother's trying to gain, and he's a very handsome young man, and he's rather, I wouldn't describe him as skinny, but he's not bulky. He looks pretty good, actually. He's like kind of becoming like a young man, when you start to actually have like body parts that aren't just like a tat, you kind of look like a human, not so much like a kid anymore. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, oh, I eat 3 meals a day. I'm like, well, you need to be eating 5 meals a day, And each of those meals, you need to feel slightly uncomfortable with how much you've eaten. A lot of people think you need to spend like breaking the bank. You don't. You just need to really high density calories. So like oil, peanut butter.
Lean meats, chicken.
Not even lean meats, dude. A lot of people think that fat's bad for you. It's not. I'll get flat. People will argue with me for this. If you have certain conditions, it is bad for you. Okay. You don't want to. You need balanced diet. There's so many calculators on the internet. Like, tell me what my macros should be, which I don't even do macros. You should. You should do macros because I just get lazy with tracking stuff. But it's. I answered this in my Discord the other day. Somebody was like, "How long?" I think it was Evie. Was like, "How long you been working out for?" I started. So I was 15 when I started working out. I'm 26 now. First 2 years of my fitness life was losing 100 pounds because I was a large boy who never did anything. So I lost about 100 pounds. And then since then, I've probably worked out about 7 years of those 11 years. And then out of those 7 years, I've probably worked out seriously 4 years. So It's time. It's eating too much. It's eating right, which is not as hard as a lot of people think it is. And also, to an extent, your genetics. And I know people don't like to hear that, but everyone could get big. Also, you're not going to get big unless you try to get big. A lot of people are like, I want to get bulky. You're not going to get bulky. Stop being dumb. You have to eat so much food.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to take away from that is someone who has been down that path a little bit is if you only heard one thing of that, chat, don't expect to have a great time when you start. I think that's the biggest thing is expect it to be like a grind, like anything else in life that's worth it.
Just consistency, man. Yep. Like, it's consistency. You gotta I also love the pain now. That's the weird thing. Mm-hmm. I am not satisfied with a workout unless I physically do not feel like, not like I'm ill, right? But like my legs are still sore from Thursday of last week. I'm not gonna, no, I'll send you a clip. It's kind of weird, so I'm not gonna say it, but it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger clip. I'm not gonna say it on stream. I'll send it to you after. But it's like, you get this feeling where it's like,
I think I've seen it.
Just feel bad, and it's like loving that pain. I hate running though. Don't get me wrong. Still hate cardio. I still do it, but I hate it. I will never like cardio.
Like I feel I used to hate running, and then I did it and did it and did it, and now I'm like, I like that burn. But
and you're good. I do Stairmaster. I run occasionally. I hate it. I'm a 260-pound man, and I will fight. I will not run. I'm okay with those options. So eat.
So eat, Jen.
That's a big one. Yeah, eat.
Another question. Well, I guess a two-parter. Soul Fury wants to know, how do I get a supportive girlfriend? But
answer that.
Well, and perhaps along the same path, Splat the Ghost asks, how did you meet Princess?
This is hilarious. I'll answer the second one because it's shorter. So, you may not be aware of this, chat, but I am a white man. This is important. It's hilarious and it's important. Princess is Persian. We met each other in college in a class called Multicultural Communications. It's always I've always thought that was funny because, like, we're not, she grew up in America. It's not like this crazy clash of cultures or anything. But so we met in college. And so Princess still gets mad at me for this, but I have a strategy, or I had a strategy with women, and that strategy is you don't want to appear eager. You want.
You're being so careful.
I'm gonna if you want me to be honest, I'll just be honest. Women like attention, but they don't want too much attention. This is my experience, right? Anecdotal. So if you just come after a woman, some women are gonna like that, some women are not gonna like that. But what always works in my experience is being the mysterious guy. So I would always, so I saw Princess, I liked her, I did not talk to her for about 6 weeks.
That's what she's saying in chat, yeah.
And then I approached her, and she had made cream puffs, and I asked her for one of her cream puffs, and I said, this is a very good cream puff. And then I showed her a picture of my dog, and then it was basically locked down because after our first date, Princess asked if I wanted to be exclusive, and it has been nearly 5 years now. So
cute dog, be mysterious, get ripped, great voice, just be the total package. Oh, but after all that mysterious, you said you love her first. She says, okay.
I guess I did. I think we debate that. She did try to lock me down real fast. So, but really, like, real advice, like how do you get a cool supporting partner? We'll make it a applicable to everyone. I do think it is slightly different if you're doing the more traditional roles of male, female, but for what can apply to everybody. And I could speak more to men, but I'm not going to do that. Like, because my little brother has to be fighting. And so there's certain things that are more applicable for if you're doing the more traditional man style of approaching women or men, whatever. But for what works for everyone is being a genuine person and being yourself and having, like, people are always like, what do I talk? Enjoy yourself. Like, have a hobby. Like, I don't even do that much, man. Like, I have my dog, which takes up, I like walking in Ruby likes to lift heavy things. He likes to go into the woods and walk with his dog. And I like to cook. I also like anime, but don't bring that up. Yeah, typically don't bring that up right away. A lot of girls like anime. Yeah, that's like third date stuff. But my point is like, enjoy, even if somebody isn't passionate about what you're passionate about, if they're a good person, they will enjoy that passion. So Princess isn't a huge gamer. She likes games. She doesn't like all the things that I like, but she supports my passions because she knows it makes me happy. Like, Princess loves makeup. I would prefer if she never wore makeup, but I'm incredibly supportive of her because I know how much it means to her, right?
Oh my God. Ruby Ruse, the perfect man, confirmed.
Just be reasonable. Just be reasonable. Sorry, I thought I felt something behind me. I'm losing my mind.
Okay.
Just
be yourself, but the version of yourself that doesn't talk about anime a lot. Got it.
Yeah. Also, be able to admit if you're wrong or not. You have bad tendencies. That's really hard. But I had to admit, like, yeah, that was bad. That is something I shouldn't do, or that is a negative character trait. Accepting who you are is a big part of life, folks.
Oh, we got to do a Poison Talks Part 2 that's just about, like, dating advice and how to...
We could do dating advice and human advice. I'm pretty good at that for the most part.
Yeah. We'll do, like, pickup artist stuff, but not, like...
Oh, yeah.
But not degenerate and scummy, like actually talking to people. That'd be nice.
Here, I'm going to go compliment this girl in public. I like your shirt. Then walk away. Doesn't work. No, never mind.
Yeah. Plasma Neos 14 wants to know, and we touched on this a little bit, what games do you like other than Spelunky? I know you've been playing some Noita lately. You've been playing some Dead Space. Anything you're going to be playing soon on stream that you think might be cool or you'd like to play someday?
I enjoy most video games. I grew up with games. Like, I grew up playing like Pokemon and GBA and Nintendo 64. Mm-hmm. I hate MOBAs. It's pretty much the only thing I don't like.
Yeah, same actually.
I don't get it. Like, I'm respectful of people who like it, but for me, it's like, I don't know. Like, I've tried. I have friends who are really into it, but I used to play, like, kind of, you go through the standard thing that I think most boys when they were my age, you play like Modern Warfare and Halo 3, Modern Warfare 2 and Halo 3, like just classics. And I love those back in the day, but these days I play a lot of roguelikes. I play, I love a good AAA game when it's good.
Sure.
Like, I have it on my back burner to play the Samurai, which Ghost of Tsushima. Like, that's one I've really wanted to play. But what am I playing soon? I mean, probably some more Noita. We're playing through the old Dead Space games because I haven't played those since they came out, so I don't remember them at all. I love a good scary game because, like, it's the one time I feel like fear. You don't. Pretty lucky. I don't feel like I'm going to die most days, so being able to experience that through
it's October, like it's Halloween month, like that.
I actually been playing Valorant, which I don't know if that's good for my mental state, but I have enjoyed myself. That's a fun game. But I also love, like, colony sims, like RimWorld. RimWorld's one of the only games that as an adult I'm still able to, like, I'm very conscious of time. I'm like, oh, it's been an hour, or oh, it's been 3, like, but when I play RimWorld, life disappears and I am playing RimWorld.
Sure.
All
right.
I haven't played MMOs in forever, but just the standard, nothing crazy.
So you got a backlog the same as the rest of us.
Oh, bro. Jesus Christ. So many games.
Oh, man. Asher has asked like 4 times. Peep126 says, what are your thoughts on the puppy dog in a box video? Have you seen that? Do you know what?
I have seen the puppy dog in a box video, and I think it is up there with one of the conspiracies about if it might be Dream. It's like, is Joe Biden the Hungry Caterpillar? It's a big, confusing conspiracy, so I just don't want to get into that.
Neither do I all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Sunset Biplane wants to know if you'd consider wearing a red ring pop instead of a ruby.
Oh yeah, that's what Princess says she's gonna get me. I think I saw her say that in chat. No.
ZS Roach wants me to ask you to ask me to play Rain World. All right, chat. We'll wrap this up in a second. My favorite questions to ask that I usually end with Tall, Shark, and Handsome. His big question is what's been the biggest mistake of your streaming career, do you think? In like a way that is like, oh, that's something I wouldn't do again, but it's funny. Something is like, wow, that's something I would like to help other people avoid. What's something you could do different that if you could do it all over again? It's a tough question. I know.
Avoid certain topics. Ever, always, forever. Don't talk about them. Flat no. And try to avoid certain topics even coming up. Because even wanting to avoid a topic can be perceived a certain way. I haven't had to deal with it very much. But one thing that pissed me off, the one time I think I got angry, and I didn't vocalize or show it, but somebody came into my chat one time and told me to donated some bits and told me to say something. I did not like that. Don't do that to streamers, because even if they agree with the thing that you're trying to say, it puts them in a position in which they have to say something. And if they don't say it, which I didn't say it, but I don't know. It's not really what did I do wrong? Because I haven't really made this mistake, but just avoiding topics. Don't let people tell you what to do ever. Unless it's for a gag, right? Like,
right,
like stupid stuff, But like, I don't come onto Twitch to talk politics. I don't come onto Twitch to talk about social issues unless they're very high level,
Sure.
Like UBI, which honestly could be pretty boring. So maybe don't talk about UBI. But
all right, if it's something you have an opinion on that you feel is important, cool. But if it's just something that's like talk about something difficult to talk about something difficult, no. I can agree with that.
And I don't know if I've made a mistake. The thing about streaming is it's like you try to sculpt something and it's bad, and it's like, okay, well, let's try again. And like this time I'm going to actually use a tool. I'm not going to use a hammer, like it's just it's not expecting to have and that's something I struggle with, where it's like a lot of those videos I made, for example, they're blocks of time. It's not small amounts of work, which is not good for you. You shouldn't, because I'm a flow kind of person, so I get in the state of flow and I just work. But it's like accepting that you're not going to achieve everything the first time. You're not going to achieve it the first month. Probably not going to achieve it the first 6 months. It's going to it's adding layers and details and pieces. And you can add big chunks. Like I'm working on some stuff for the stream right now, but it's like expecting perfection, I guess. That's a mistake. Expecting it to be perfect. Expecting it to work out the way you want it to work.
Done is better than perfect is one of my favorite quotes. For sure.
Yes.
And then the final question, and then we'll let you get back to work. What's been your favorite moment so far in your streaming career? Whether it's something in game that's hilarious, whether it's something you're like an achievement you're proud of, or just a general. What's your favorite thing as Ruby Ruse?
Specific moment as Ruby Ruse. Man, that's hard. That's a weird one. It's not a weird question.
It doesn't have to be correct. Like, yes, that's the best moment, or something that stands out in your mind that you think like, yeah.
It's kind of I could give you a very specific moment, and then I can give you what actually came to mind. I mean, if I had to think of a really specific moment, like either getting the 799 or like the face reveal, those were really fun times. Those were really good vibes on the stream.
Oh, for sure.
Those are just like really stick out in my mind, but. I don't know. I kind of experience that favorite moment most days when I stream, when I have people pop in. Like, that's really cool. Sorry to be sappy, but that is, I don't know, man. Like, it's a very cool feeling. Like, people don't, I don't think a lot of viewers get it. I don't think they get it, but it's like, it's a pretty cool feeling when people show up,
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
No, maybe, okay, that could be sappy. But, like, when... At absolutely every level and every way you could mean that. Like, when Derek, you stopped by my stream last week, whenever I see the check marks in chat of, like, Twiggle and Hectique or anybody huge, awesome. Whenever any of my close friends come in, like, I see Jess, I see Shark, I see my mom. Like, it's like, yeah, cool.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah.
Whenever I see a regular, whenever I see, like... Luca the Jackal, or Plaz, or Mindy, or Sunset, whoever, like anyone who's just like, yeah, you're just another viewer, but cool. And whenever I see anyone new come in, it's just like, hey, I saw your YouTube, you're cool, or I came here from Chaz's channel, or Pepperoni and Cheese. Like anyone who comes in and just says, I would like to be here and I'm going to continue watching. That's my favorite moment too,
Yeah, man. The chat has quite a bit of power in a lot of ways. So, yeah.
Okay, relax. Everyone, I didn't shout out. I love you too. Relax. But yeah, I think it's such a rare, cool thing to do. What we do.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, and I don't know. I think you and me are kind of in the same boat where we're fortunate enough that this isn't what's making the bread for the most part. This is what we do because we love it and it's what we want to do, right? Like, it's a choice and it's not a forced choice. It's something we're both I think, and maybe I'll tell you how to feel, but yeah, we're both very lucky to be able to do what we do, right? I'm sure you know that. I don't need to tell you that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We're in agreement. And I agree that you don't need, this doesn't pay my bills, you don't need to give me money. But on that note, go and subscribe to Ruby Ruse.
Please.
Everybody, let's give a shout out for Ruby in chat.
I will not feed my dog unless you give me subs.
So if you want Yuka to live, I already did. Cool, click again.
I will not pet her tonight. No pets for the next
seriously.
hour.
Okay, let's stop threatening the dog. That's a bad vibe after all that. So go click on twitch.tv/RubyRuse. Click on the YouTube link. Go subscribe to him and follow him. Give him your money. Give Yuki your money. Ruby, thank you so much for coming by and chatting. This has been I've been looking forward to this, and you've lived up to every expectation as always.
Well, thank you. Yes, we'll have to come back for pickup artist.
Okay, there has to be a better way to put that.
No, it's that we've decided. I've locked in. No, but yeah, thank you for putting up. I've kind of, like I said, I turned on the camera today. I'm like, I look like a caveman. So thank you for handling my caveman.
I would handle you anyway. I mean, Ruby, thank you.
I would zoom in. That's a zoom in right there. Hey, alrighty. Thanks, Poison. Thanks, chat. You're all beautiful.
Yeah, go follow and like and subscribe. And Ruby, I'll see you in chat. Love you.
Yeah. Bye, man. Love you too.